I hope you guys have been grinding ranked, whether you got a squad or not. I really personally enjoy World's Edge. It feels like such a balanced map, and ranked is just way more enjoyable here than the other maps. But I know why you guys are here. I know why you clicked on this video, because it's time for the official Season 10 ranked guide on World's Edge. Let's go. Let's begin with what guns to use. Well, let's talk about the gun that just came out of the care package. The Prowler was super strong coming out, and even with the nerf, it is still, I believe, the premier close range gun. I would dare to say it's better or as good as any shotgun currently in the game. So of course I'm going to recommend it as a gun that you should be running in Season 10. Another gun that sort of came out of nowhere, shocked a few people, was the L-Star. It got a huge buff by getting stabilizers and extended mags and all that jazz added to its kit, so it seems super easy to control. I think it might get nerfed soon, but still, unless the nerf is crazy, it seems super easy to control, and it just melts like shields without even really aiming. I don't know, it literally just shreds everything, man. So let's move on to the newest gun in the game, the Rampage. I think the Rampage is really solid right now. I don't suspect there's going to be any balances to it. I think it is fine. It is a good mid to long range gun that shoots slow but is very powerful. So you can def pair it up with any close range gun, and it can be the mid range to long range weapon, and you'll be just fine. It is a solid pick. Now let's move on to other guns that you know are classics, old reliables, guns that are always going to be good and are still good, and I'm always going to recommend the Volt, the R9, the R301, the PK, Eva, Scout, Wingman, Hemlock even. We can throw those in as guns that are always going to be solid. You can always run if you're good with them, and I will always recommend. In general, when playing on World's Edge, since it is such a balanced and nice ranked map to play on, you are really allowed to pick and choose whatever guns. There's not a certain group of guns that are what you have to run. This is why, in contrast to King's Canyon, where short range guns are king, or on Olympus, where you need to be able to hit your shots at long range, your loadouts can be very versatile on World's Edge. You can really pick any set of guns from the better guns, obviously, and just use what you like. Use what you hit your shots with. Use what you feel comfortable with. And now, let's move on to another topic where let's go into the legends and the team comps that you guys should be running this season. So what legends should you be playing this season? Well, first of all, if you guys want a more in-depth breakdown into what legends are trending up and down in Season 10 on World's Edge, check this video right here. This is my best legends for ranked on World's Edge video, so go check that out. I talk about a lot of the legends way more in depth, so go check that one out and then come back here. But now I'm going to mention just some team comps that are very common, that I've seen a lot, that are very popular, and the legends that are also very popular. But again, talking about World's Edge, it can really house all types of legends, and you can really justify paying a lot of them. A very popular team comp I have seen currently is Octane Seer Bloodhound. You know, obviously you can really get behind this comp. You know a lot of information with these two legends. Then you have Octane, who moves you around and can be your aggressor. A team comp I can really get behind is Octane Seer Valkyrie. This though might be because I'm a Valkyrie main, so I've ended up in this comp a lot, kind of taking the Bloodhound role, and being maybe a little bit more aggressive as well because I can be Valkyrie. But right now, the very lock on almost any good team is Seer. He just gives so much info while being super oppressive to everyone around him. And, you know, even though Bloodhound is still amazing, and I still recommend Hound to be on any team. Hound is still top tier. There's just no counter for Seer right now. And you just have to run another Seer. So Seer is just right now, I think, almost every team until something maybe happens with them. There's going to be a nerf coming soon, maybe in the next week. But we'll see what happens with that. I'll mention that later. And another legend that I want to talk about, so I don't talk about Seer the whole time, is going to be Caustic. Again, after his gas damage buff, he appears a lot more. He feels way stronger. His gas is a lot scarier again. And I've seen him paired with Rev or Octane. I've also seen him with Octane or Seer. So those are two comps that I've seen Caustic, the gas daddy, falling with. And these are just some of the very common comps that I've been seeing, which is why I wanted to mention those to you guys in case you guys were looking for a comp. With def, for a more individual look, go check out the video that I mentioned at the beginning of this point. And now let's move on to just my curiosities and my thoughts on things that I've noticed so far. So these are just some, observations I've made throughout this split so far. One thing is I found that people this split seem to be more content to be aggressive. I don't know if this is just after playing Olympus so much and everyone playing so much Revenant and adding then another, wall hack legend. I feel like teams feel way more confident fighting right now, and it just feels like in early game there are way more teams dropping than even usual, or there's way more teams that are like one dude left way earlier than usual. Because I've had diamond games that end like in round 3, which is kind of rare. So it wasn't the case all the time, so I don't know, it's just been something I'm noticing that teams are just more willing to fight. Also, since I was discussing a little earlier, the Seer nerf got pushed back by a week, so keep an eye out for that and whatever nerf that is, whether it's to his passive or tactical. But unless it's a ridiculous nerf, which I doubt judging on how Respawn nerfed Horizon, and they've stated multiple times that they never want to nerf someone into the ground again. So I think he's firmly going to stay meta even with the nerf. He's going to still probably be pretty valuable. So, he gives free intel to your team. Who doesn't want that? So I do hope, fingers crossed, that they nerf his passive because it's way too much. But just keep a lookout for that update. The next topic I want to go into is Season 10 World's Edge and do a little bit of map analysis. But before I begin talking about the beauty that is World's Edge, if you guys are enjoying these tips and want to discuss further anything from this video with me, don't forget to subscribe, and you guys can come through the next live stream right here on YouTube. You can pop in, chat, ask away. So if you want to subscribe, you're welcome to, so you don't miss any of the other videos as well. And my personal favorite video that I always make is my solo queue guide. So thank you ahead of time for the sub, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. So back to World's Edge. In Season 10, what up with it? So, did it get a solid facelift? Yes, I really like the changes. We finally got those beautiful colors in the sky back. A few old mainstay buildings were finally wiped off and refreshed, and gave way to some really cool, new POIs, places of interest, I believe. So it gave a few also new ways of just rotating in and out of areas as well. So I think they're good changes, I've always thought World's Edge is the most balanced ranked map in Apex, and I don't think the changes have hurt it at all. It's a mixture of always cities with wide open fields and mountains, and then hybrid, more rocky sections with big structures that allow many types of playstyles and comps, I think wiping away Train Yard, which was a huge area to get thirded because of how drawn out the fights would be because of the train carts, up in the air. Those fights would take a long time, and teams would always rotate in since it's a very central POI. So I think that was very nice. I think getting rid of Sorting Factory allows for, a different type of engagement in those areas, because in those big warehouse buildings, it would allow, maybe 6, 7, 8 teams to pack into every area. So I think it's very good for splitting that up into a 3-area thing where there isn't enough space for a ton of teams. So you have to approach that area differently. I think, again, along the same lines, the same thing with removal of Refinery, just refreshes an old area, and you split that section up into, again, multiple sections. So, discussing just the map in general, it just has so many POIs. There is no reason you guys should be contesting a drop from the beginning. There's no reason you guys should be doing it. You guys should be focused on dropping safely, getting your loot, and then playing your game. Unless you guys just feel really confident in your comms, in your shots with whatever weapons you get. I don't agree with contesting on World's Edge. You don't need to. That is the beauty of this map. Because I would love for you guys not to be losing max RP all the time. Though, there is a trade-off if your team is really good. But again, I highly suggest on World's Edge, there's so many places to land at. Try and always land alone, because that is the luxury of the space and time and loot situation on this map. Now let's get to the most important part of the video, the best playstyle for gaining RP on World's Edge. So this is why you guys are here, right? The playstyle to gain as much RP in as little possible of time. And let's begin with this statement. On World's Edge, there is not a set playstyle that I'm going to force you guys to play. I'm going to recommend even 3 different playstyles, but I'm going to give you my favorite personal one that always works. On, World's Edge has such a harmonious balance of areas that playing Edge or hardcore center zone are both super valid, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It is why I love World's Edge. But the tried and true way to rank up on World's Edge for me, since World's Edge has been introduced, is I always make sure I am playing a Recon Legend, I land uncontested at a POI, and land on the beacon or quickly get to one within the first minute and a half of the match. I see where the zone is pulling, and I finish looting, and we start rotating towards a good spot in the second zone, which at this point will be the green zone when you scan the beacon. Once you get to this spot that you think is the best one, that you think maybe the zone could pull towards all the way to late game, this is a spot in the match where you can look to take a fight. Whether you hear one close that you can third, or if there's just one team in your area that you can take that isolated fight. If you are to stumble upon a team while rotating to that green zone, it is fine to take an isolated 3v3 as long as it is an isolated 3v3. You loot, you finish the fight fast, and then you continue on your way. What you want is you want to secure at least 2 KP out of this one fight, and then you just want to play it slow. Play center zone, since on World's Edge you can play that playstyle. It's not like on Olympus where you would get constantly aped. On World's Edge that does not happen as often. And this will secure you a little KP going into endgame, as well as making sure you survive and get placement points. This minimizes the risk of you losing many points in ranked while gaining as much as possible from every game, because as we all know, losing max RP all the time is gonna stop you from ever ranking up to where you want to get. So that's the playstyle that works for me. So if you guys implement that, I'm sure you guys are gonna have no problem getting to Masters Pred, wherever the hell you guys want to get to. And with that, I end this rank guide. I assure you guys, if you put these tips and thoughts into practice, there is no reason I can't see you in Pred lobbies with me. Later, guys.